This neighborhood we grew up in. We learned how to ride a bike. We did everything here, play sports, and we learned literally how to read and write in this neighborhood. And our parents, it was very important to them, education, and we used to walk down to the bookmobile, as I commented earlier this morning. So I think the combination of this neighborhood where we grew up and an educational facility, so a library, was sort of crossed both key thresholds for us to give back.
Well, I think the real reason that this library, this space, this little corner of the community is where my mother, who was graduate of Our Lady of the Elms and taught I think lower school, we'd call it now, grade school English for a long time. This is where she taught us to love books because she marched all 6 of us kids down the hill on Thursday afternoons to go to the bookmobile on the corner of the intersection of Old Brook Road and Surrey Road. And it was Thursday afternoons. It came every other week. She was a great reader, a great lover of poetry, memorized volumes of poetry that she recited to us and read to us always at night. And reading became a part of our life because of her love for it. And as we grew up, my father was a great reader too, and he was always reading books, talking about them, recommending them. So I think one of the best ways to remember our parents is to build a place for children to learn to love to read in this little corner of the world.
There are so many people who've been involved in this, yourself included, who've really spent a lot of time and effort giving back to the community with their energy, their time, and their effort. And so really at the end of the day, whether it be yourself, Pat Markey, Matt Blumenfeld, Barbara Garvey, Charlie Ryan, those are the people who really should be honored today.
Good morning. Thanks everybody for coming. My name's Pat Markey, for those of you who don't know me. I am president of the Library Foundation, which is the private fundraising wing of the Springfield Library and the receptacle for gifts like the one that we're celebrating today. I want to thank everybody who came, in particular Mayor Sarno, Angelo Pupolo, Senator Lesser's representative, Bill Foley was here, and our local city councilor, Tim Allen. We're here today to say thank you to the white children of Wendover Road and East Forest Park for their generosity and for remembering where they came from and for giving back to the neighborhood that launched their fabulously successful professional careers. We want to thank Maureen and Chris and Tom and Mark and Tim and John. Many people who are successful in life, including those who are part of the Springfield diaspora, forget about where they came from and how the relationships and the neighborhood that created them is responsible for their success. The whites are not those sorts of people. The whites have set an example for all of us to remember what we owe our success to, and we thank them for the example that they have set for all of us. Thanks to their generosity, kids for generations to come are going to have a fabulous children's library to study in, to engage with their peers in, to engage with mentors in. We've come a long way from the bookmobile that the whites all remember on the corner of Surrey Road and Old Brook Road. So we thank them for that. We also want to thank them for remembering their kids, the grandchildren of Pat and Bill White, with bricks that will be out in the patio. Their names will be remembered as well. And we're also here to honor Pat and Bill White, who were, I guess you would say, quietly competent leaders and role models. No fanfare about the Whites. That's something they passed on to their children. They just got things done. And their generosity was an example to others in the neighborhood, like my own family, and to their children, as we see here today. My family personally benefited from some of the White largesse. Most of the Whites were a little older than me, and they had excess cleats as they moved on through college. And our family was the beneficiary of some of those cleats. And it's with some chagrin that I have to report to the White family that it's not about the shoes. Those shoes stopped scoring goals and stopping goals when they came into my family. We had to become cross-country runners. The Whites, another example of the Whites' generosity. This is Bill and Pat, and their kids probably don't even know about it because, well, some of them do now because I told them, but Bill and Pat White were so generous, and again, without fanfare, because they didn't tell their kids about this. My family had a fire. It was after I left, but my two younger siblings were in the house. We grew up in Overlook around the corner from the Whites. And my folks were there, and my two youngest siblings were there, and there was a fire. My folks had to live in a trailer. So the first call they got the next morning was from Bill White saying, "We're in Florida. You want to move into our house?" And they did move into the house, and they were welcomed. I just told this story this morning. One of the comments that my father made, there was a picture of the White family in their nice cable knit white sweaters and jeans at the beach, beautiful backdrop. And my dad's comment was, "That's not real, is it? These people are so good looking. This must have come with the frame." So we celebrate the White kids and the White parents. With this gift, they bring our campaign, our $2 million campaign, up to $1.6 million. And they... So thank you from the bottom of the hearts of everybody from East Forest Park for your generosity. Today we're going to hear from Mayor Sarno, Steve Carey, who is the chairman of the Library Commission and has family connections to the Whites as well. From Molly Fogarty, our library director, brilliant library director who has really overseen a renaissance in the Springfield Public Libraries. We're going to hear from John White, who we owe a special debt of gratitude to. I know, being one of 7, how difficult it is to herd a group of your siblings together. And John successfully did that to coalesce this really substantial gift. We're also going to hear from Mayor Sarno refers to Charlie Ryan as the godfather of the library. We're going to hear from the godmother of the library, Barbara Garvey. And everybody wants to hear what she has to say because it's always meaningful, and it's just nice to hear from Barbara Garvey. After that, we're going to proceed to the new children's room, the Bill and Pat White Children's Room, and we're going to have some refreshments, and of course, we're going to take photos. So with that, I want to introduce Mayor Sarno. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Chairman Markey, Attorney Markey, Pat, thank you very much. I enjoyed the story about the roots there, and he's buttering you up more for more money donations on it, too. And I also got a kick out of it, John White was telling me about, this was the old softball field here that you really excelled on. That's what I was told. I'm telling that story, that you excelled on it.
Dr. Larry was my coach, and I was not his star player.
I'm sure you did fine, but to my colleagues in government, State Representative Angelo Pupolo, and to City Councilor Tim Allen. Tim, I hope your son is feeling much better now, and the former City Councilor Tim Ryan. To Helen Carlton Harris, my Health and Human Services Commissioner, who has done a tremendous job as we move to defeat this COVID-19. We'll have some announcements with Dr. Kerouac and Dr. Roos this afternoon. Tornado transformative projects came about with this East Forest Park Library. We're looking to do the same thing with the ARPA money. And I also want to give a shout out, Matt Blumenfeld, thank you very much for your continued efforts. We appreciate that immensely. And to my old halfback on our soccer days, Chairman Steve Carey and Molly Fogarty. When I was talking to the White family and I was introduced to them, I said this was very heartfelt. And as Attorney Markey Pat indicated, many a times people move on. They forget their roots, and are obligated to remember their roots, but they move on and they never look back at where they came from. your family has never forgotten your roots. And the donation you make today is quite substantial. And I know with my friend and colleague, Mayor Charlie Ryan, who I always say, I do call him the godfather of the libraries, but I always say he cut one hell of a deal with Andrew Carnegie many years ago to do our library thing. Timmy, your father loves that line. So as we continue to move forward, I still see the libraries as a gateway to expanding not only knowledge, education, but opportunity. And with knowledge comes power. It expands the mind. Our library system has diversified so much now. So it's just not about opening a book. It's about computers now, workforce development, community, being able to be out there and engage with people. And it becomes a community center. And this is what East Forest Park, which is just one of our most wonderful neighborhoods of the many we have here in the city of Springfield, was clamoring for 40 years. And I was happy that working together, we all worked together. And my administration were able to get this standalone library. And with the city help and the tornado recovery money and state help and generous benefactors such as you. And to everybody that's watching this or hearing this, you can be part of it. You know, no donation is too small or too large, and that's extremely important. But what you do here today is keep that legacy going, and I know your dad was hired by a former mayor as city solicitor, am I correct? Under Charlie Ryan, Attorney Bill White. As I said before, this will be the best meeting of my day, and this is all about community. And having, especially families, but a child come in here, no matter what creed, color, or background, and being able to say, I can and will reach that goal. Where did it come from? I was in the library. I read this book. I was online. I was able to be in a program. I met my best friend at the library 25 years ago. That's a testament and a statement to what the White family is doing today in memory of your mom and dad. That is just such a great legacy that'll continue on. So with that, I thank you very much. And are we going to dedicate any type of softball field to them too?
There's a price for everything.
I gave him the lead-in line on that. I set him up nice. So each and every one of you, to your family, everyone here, good health to you and your family. And thank you for your continued belief and investment in the city of Springfield, for never forgetting your roots. From those roots come the tree and the branches, tentacles that spread out there, and that will be the legacy. The kids, that when they come in here, their eyes will just be shining in that room, and your parents will be looking down from heaven going, good job. Thank you so much, and God bless. Thank you very much. With that, I have the honor and privilege of introducing my dear friend and old teammate, halfback. He used to be able to run like the wind, and I was the crazy goalie on the soccer team, the chairman of the Library Commission. I also want to thank the Library Foundation. They've been a great partner for being able. Barbara, who I call the godmother, we've kept all our libraries open, unheard of in this day and age. All our neighborhood libraries have been able to expand hours, build new libraries, rehab, and keep the budget going. The Library Foundation's been excellent. And Molly Fogarty also heads that. So I guess I have to introduce the dynamic duo of Steve Carey and Molly Fogarty. Put your hands together for them. Thank you.
So unlike the first two guys, I have to cheat and read my notes. On behalf of the Springfield Library Commission, I can't tell you how excited I am to be here today, but bear with me, I'm going to try. Almost 3 years ago, on October 15th, 2018, it was cold, it was rainy, and we put shovels in the ground, symbolically to begin putting the roof over our heads. Thanks to the stewardship of Mayor Sarno, his tried, tested, and true administration. It took only 14 months and 5 days to have a ribbon cut ceremony. If any of you have built a home, a place of business, a structure of any kind, especially one as beautiful as this, you know that's a timeline worthy of envy. The Library Commission spent many years working with the Mass Board of Library Commission. We generally were asking for waivers, and that's how we got to know each other. With the support of Mayor Sarno, the City Council, and so many people in this room, the library operating budget allowed us to upgrade services, to increase hours of library operation. And that was sort of the key component that led us to the next successful thing. We went from begging for waivers to qualify for an impressive MBLC grant. And that made this project feasible financially. The programs, the services, everything that happens underneath this roof during the past few years is even more impressive, especially during a pandemic. The staff who welcomed us here today and worked so hard, they pivoted. They provided not only online curbside pickup of materials, but they worked the phones. They arranged vaccines for seniors who didn't have the ability or the digital skills to do that. I don't know if everybody remembers January and February, but that was a scary time. None of this would have happened without the support of all of you. And I know it's only early September, but I'm calling this like pre-season Thanksgiving. That's what it's working for me. In the early 2000s, Charlie Ryan and Barbara Garvey invited me to join the Library Commission. And I thought I was a good fit. I had taught video production in high school and college and corporate and broadcast. I worked on content from commercials to children's TV, documentaries, surgical training, a whole bunch of things. And I always got my research done in a library. And I was pretty sure I knew a lot about libraries. So it took me about 3 minutes of the first meeting to realize I was clueless. There's so much in a library. It's like an onion that just keeps peeling. So we're all familiar with the saying, if you build it, they will come. With the library, I say, if you come, they will build you up. For me and countless others, that's what happens underneath a roof like this. Librarians build communities, and they make things possible. To say the least, Charlie and Barbara are a tough act to follow. They were handed a library system during a really difficult financial time. But in so many ways, from the Library Commission I serve on to the Springfield Library Foundation, they gave us a base to build on. And more important, I think Charlie and Barbara did it not only as friends, but with friends. And as friends, we're all here today. It took me about 50 years before I could be comfortable calling Mr. Ryan Charlie. He and Joan were great friends to my parents, and they taught us a lot about friendship. And it's no secret that Charlie and Joan were great friends with your parents. Having the White family here in the shadow of your family home is kind of a testament to that friendship. John White and I were classmates at Cathedral right across the street, and we had, both had older siblings who went to Cathedral together, so there was kind of a bond. And the fact that the friendship of the White, the Ryan, the Garvey family put us together is an awesome thing. So I want to thank all the brothers and sisters. But I really only know John. And, we're both the youngest in big families, and there's always a lot of family rivalry. So, John, it's always nice when parents finally get it right with the last kid. So that wasn't fair. None of my siblings are here for a rebuttal. And I remember your supreme debating skills from Mrs. Jensen's Model Senate, but I shouldn't have set you up like that. On a serious note, I think Mr. and Mrs. White are smiling and very proud. While the White family has grown and flown from 46 Wendover Road, your tremendous gift in your parents' name in the shadow of the birth home will provide an incredible amount of good for a long, long time. At this point, I'm lucky to introduce Molly. Molly Fogarty is the director of the Springfield City Library and has taught me an awful lot about libraries. I can't leave the podium without thanking you, without thanking Matt Blumenfeld and the staff that works here every single day. Please give them a round of applause. The memory of William and Patricia White will help librarians build community and make amazing things happen. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. This is such an exciting time for all of us. I want to bring us back a little bit. We were involved, the library department was involved in strategic planning in the spring of 2019. And we had an exercise as we were planning the future of the Springfield City Library. And we thought, let's just say, what would happen if all the libraries shut down? What would we build back? And unfortunately, that was the spring of 2019, and on March 16th, 2020, that did happen. So I don't know if we were foretelling the future or imagining the worst. But on the morning of March 16th, 2020, at 9 a.m., our libraries didn't open as they usually did. And by late morning, we had our staff, our frontline staff, our managers, everyone starting to say, what can we do now that we've closed our doors? And so we started planning virtual programs, telephone reference, we added live chat reference, we brought the community back, we helped people sign up for the census. And when our health commissioner said, can you help people, our seniors sign up for vaccinations in February 2020, we said, or 2021, sorry, we said, yes, absolutely. Our staff were excited and ready to go. But what we couldn't do, we couldn't do is let people in the doors. And that's where we're so excited right now to have opened the branches on July 6th, when it was safe to do so in 2021. And now the Central Library opened on Tuesday, September 7th. All our branches, all our 9 locations are open, full schedules, and we're so excited to be welcoming the public back in. What we couldn't do is let 650,000 people use our libraries during the time we were closed, and provide over 5,000 programs attended by 70,000 people who are always in here, and we were just so thrilled to be able to start that again. I just want to bring you back a little bit to 1851, and I won't go through year by year, I promise. 170 years ago, the Mass General Court passed the first law that allowed communities in the Commonwealth, both towns and cities, to start funding public library services. And the residents of Springfield, way back then, as they are still now, with having this wonderful donation from the White family, said, we want libraries, we want our public libraries in Springfield. And they clamored and put together private funding and worked with the city administration and built the first central library in 1857. And after that, a brand new and funded both materials, staff, and buildings, built the brand new central library in 1912. And then branched out into the neighborhoods, from starting with Forest Park in 1909 and Indian Orchard in 1909 and out into all the outlying neighborhoods, because the residents of Springfield love their libraries. I'm not from Springfield, I grew up in Boston, and we love our libraries there, but nothing like Springfield. I've never seen anything like it. And I've shared that with my colleagues, through the American Library Association. There is such a passion for libraries. And as we kept going out into the neighborhoods, and the last branch that we built, East Forest Park, I'm hoping is not the last. Maybe there'll be other opportunities later on. But it was due to the generous donations of families like the White family who said, we enjoyed the bookmobile, and now we see what you've done with the libraries, and we're giving back to the community. And that just is such a testament to the library system, to the work that our staff does. And I just can't thank you all enough. This means so much to us, really validates all the work that we do. And I want to thank our Library Commission Chair and the Library Foundation, of course, Mayor Sarno, for being so supportive of the library system, our City Council, Helen Carlton-Harris, thank you so much for all your counseling. I'm always asking her for advice, and for keeping us all safe during the last 17 months. And this is just such a wonderful day, and we're so excited to be here. And again, can't thank all the donors. We have lots of donors to this campaign. It's a combination of public, private, and state funding, city funding, federal funding. So here we are. Thank you all so much. And I can't tell you how much this means to me personally, to the Library Commission, not that I will speak for them, to the Library Foundation, and certainly to the residents of Springfield. So thank you very much.
So, Steve, you're not alone in bringing notes. So, there you go. Thank you. So, well, I'm John White. I am the youngest of the Whites. I just realized my brother Tim has now arrived in the back of the room, so we're all here. And let me start by saying thank you, Mayor Sarno, for the kind words. And I'm not going to list all the politicians in the room at this moment, and it is still Mr. Ryan for me. But I haven't been around this many politicians since my father had a coffee hour for Charlie Ryan campaigns. But seriously, thank you all for coming out today and for the kind words. Let me also acknowledge my good friend Bob Phelan, who couldn't make it here today. Bob and I were having dinner in downtown Springfield a couple of years ago when he brought this opportunity to my attention and then subsequently to my family's attention. So Bob Phelan has a big part in today's activities and today's events. So on behalf of my siblings, Chris, Maureen, Tom, Mark, and Tim, we want to thank you so very much for giving us the opportunity to honor our parents in this way. You know, this was the neighborhood we grew up in. We learned to kick a soccer ball here. We learned to play softball. We rode our bikes. And we learned how to read. In fact, I literally learned how to read next door at Memorial School when I was probably 4 or 5 years old. My brother Chris would tell you he could read at 2, but. In our mother, people remarked the bookmobile. I remember vividly our mother would walk us down the hill to Old Brook Road, and we go to the bookmobile. And if she could be here today and see this facility, she would be so proud and so happy for what's been accomplished. Springfield and East Forest Park are in our hearts, always have been, and always will be. Our father and mother instilled in us the importance of learning and education. They also instilled in us the importance of giving back. We sincerely hope that our gift today will inspire others to turn out and give to this wonderful facility. In closing, let me take a moment to pay special thanks to 4 individuals: Pat Markey, Matt Blumenthal, Barbara Garvey, and Mr. Ryan. You've all worked tirelessly for this project. You've given back to the city, to the community, and to this local area. So please, if we could all take a moment and join me in giving them a wonderful round of applause. Thank you all for coming today, and we hope to visit with more of you at lunch.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. I want to welcome to the podium now a woman who needs no introduction. She's known to everyone who is in this room and everyone who loves libraries. Barbara Garvey.
Thank you, Pat.
Thanks, Barbara.
How many cathedral like Chad Mrs. Garvey?
Yeah, good question. There may be a quiz.
Some of the folks here remember those. I'm calling this little bit of remarks Hail and Farewell. Since we're gathered in a library, during my remarks, I will be quoting from 3 books, 2 from Charles Dickens, and the other from Alfred Lord Tennyson. So to begin, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Who wrote that? Come on. Who did?
Charlie Ryan.
Dickens would be proud to accept Charlie, but it was Dickens. It was the best of times in 2003 because Charlie Ryan had just been elected mayor of the city of Springfield. It was the worst of times. The government of Springfield was now being ruled by a state-appointed financial control board because the city was in very bad shape financially. Now, the ghost of Christmas past. What's that from? The Ghost of Christmas Past. A Christmas Carol. And who wrote it? Charles Dickens. So, the ghost memories of the past. In 2002, the Museum Association cut library hours by 20%, and the budget for library materials was slashed by $250,000. In 2003, Springfield residents, led by Charlie and Sheila McElwain, rallied to keep all 9 branches open after 3 were closed due to budget cuts. The path that led us to this day probably began in the playground of Holy Name School in the early 1930s. And that friendship between Charlie and Bill White ended only when Bill died in 2014. But the friendship expanded in the 50s as they each married Elms girls. Pat and Joan were graduates of the College of Our Lady of the Elms in Chicopee and had become friends in the alumni gatherings. When Charlie became mayor in 1960, he brought Bill in as his city solicitor, his first city solicitor. Maybe that was a reward for all the Ryan roundups that his kids had delivered during the campaign. Well, maybe. And after Charlie left the mayor's office, they became partners in their new law firm. Although they each had different personalities, they were united in the same ethical and legal principles. Charlie's participation in the political process was an inspiration to all of us. The legion of kids delivering the Ryan Roundup, going to rallies and debates for Charlie's many campaigns. They grew up with a keener understanding and appreciation of what it means to be a politician. Now, if you ever delivered a Ryan Roundup, put your hand up. There you go. For those of you who may not have even been alive at the time of the Ryan Roundup, this was a little newspaper. I shouldn't call it a little. It was a great little newspaper. But it carried the news of Charlie's campaign, what Charlie believed in, and Charlie's hope that everybody would support him in his futuristic ideals. But now, from Ulysses by Tennyson. Ulysses was in his old age, and Tennyson gives him these words to say. Though much is taken, much abides. And though we are not now that strength which in old days moved heaven and earth, that which we are, we are. One equal temper of heroic hearts, made weak by time and fate, but strong in will, to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield.
Well, you can see we saved the best for last. Thank you very much, Barbara. That concludes the formal speaking portion of our program. We're going to proceed now to see the Pat and Bill White Children's Room. I know some of you snuck in already, but pretend it's new to you. Thank you very much.